Well, it's Talk Birdie to me. We love a bonus podcast. And here's another one. Massive thanks to our mates at the Golf Clearance Outlet who beat everyone's prices, and Ping, who, like they've done for Nick O'Hearn, they'll help you play your best. And the Watch My Numbers app. Play smarter and use your data. Now, a bonus episode of Talk Birdie to me. Here's Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
All right, boys, a couple of weeks ago, we had so much feedback and questions for you that we did a bonus pod that we called the Talk Birdie to me Q&A pod. And again, we've got quite a bit this week, so I thought we'd do another one.
It's Q&A number 2.
Number 2.
Beautiful.
You up for it?
Yep.
All righty.
Always.
First one. This is from Steve. I was lucky enough to attend a How to Practice at the Driving Range session last week at the Melbourne Golf Park. This was hosted by former Australian Master champion Craig Spence and some other bloke who reckons he beat Tiger Woods twice in match play. Seriously, though, it was a great event, and I liked the 3 phases method, which would be a great topic for a future masterclass at some point if you haven't done that already. But one question I didn't get to ask on the night, which I'm hoping, Marco and Nick, you might be able to discuss, is this. What would you consider to be the essential training aids to assist with the technical aspects of a practice session? Alignment sticks and a putting mirror come to mind, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on what those aids might be. Keep up the great work on the podcast. Steve.
Oh, thanks, Steve, and thanks for coming along to that night at the Melbourne Golf Park. We had a lot of fun.
How good's Melbourne Golf Park looking these days? What a transformation.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it is
incredible.
good.
Yeah, we were in a little room where they had the simulator, TrackMan set up, and then we went out onto the range to hit some balls. It was a fun. They got the 36-hole mini putt-putt too. It's brilliant. But Steve, yeah, spot on. Alignment sticks, absolutely. Number one, especially when you're hitting full shots. I don't use really anything else when it comes to full swing. I know people use, you can use a towel or a glove or something like that where you can put them under your arms. I think that works quite well for full swings. I don't know about you, Mark. As far as putting goes, mirror, absolutely. My favourite one was a chalk line. I always went to Bunnings and grabbed the old chalk line from the tradesman section there and put that on a green. And that was one that I used a lot when I was playing.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. The chalk line was enormous. I never used to practice with the sticks.
No?
Okay. Just put a shaft down. So if you haven't got the shaft,
clubs, sticks, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah, you don't necessarily need the sticks. A shaft does the same sort of thing. You know what? I felt, and I really like seeing some of the best players in the world do it these days, and they do it because they've got the TrackMan right behind them. But I always feel like if you're not using a clean club, you've got to use clean clubs when you practice. I mean, a lot of people will practice and they just do not, and the dirt builds up on the face of the club and you just don't get the feedback that you should be getting. So I think having a wet towel is very, very important, not only to clean the club face, but also to give the grips a bit of a wipe as well.
I noticed Scotty Scheffler doing that in a warm-up or a range session before the Masters recently, where after every shot, he grabbed the towel off the caddy, wiped the club face, gave it back to him, hit another ball, wiped the club face.
DJ does it as well, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons, by the way, for one of the things I did mention to the people that night was... We spoke a bit about pre-shot routine and how you should walk into the ball and things like that. I always say to people, have your practice swing behind the ball, not next to it. And the other thing is don't take a divot. Because if you hit the ground and take a divot, all of a sudden your grooves are full of dirt.
That's it.
And then you put it behind the ball and now it's going to do something different because you're not going to get the spin that you want. So it's more of an air swing, the practice swing. So that's something that's to keep in mind.
The other thing, you mentioned a chalk line, you mentioned the sticks. The other thing that's very, very important is when you're chipping, don't use the range balls. Use the golf balls that you use on the golf course, because that is fundamentally one of the things. Every golf ball is very different, and to be matter of fact, the range balls are usually garbage.
Yeah, they're pretty hard,
aren't they? Just hopeless.
Not spinning.
Absolutely hopeless. So if you haven't got a pocket full of your own golf balls to chip with on the chipping green, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
So this week, Tiger Woods got a lifetime exemption for the signature events. Rye has said, aren't these events compulsory? He barely plays, and 5 events with no cuts. That sounds familiar. I think it's more about crowds and views, as the PGA is now getting very boring to watch. Often, you'll watch someone line up a putt for 5 minutes.
Personally, I think they should just have a Tiger Woods rule that says he can do whatever the hell he wants. He changed this game completely since he turned pro in 96.
Yeah.
Timed it beautifully with when the Golf Channel started in the US, and golf has boomed ever since. And I personally think, given what he's done for the game and his record, If he wants to play, he can play whatever he wants.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's interesting. He just commented he doesn't have a lifetime exemption in the US Open. You know, a tournament he's won, a handful of times, 3 times, 4 times, whatever it is. He doesn't have a lifetime exemption for that.
Right.
But I think it's very simple. For these events, let's just say there is a category, if you win 50 times on tour,
if
then you have a lifetime exemption into these events that we're talking about now.
Or you could do it, okay, if you've won 80 tournaments and 10 majors, there you go. Which, he's funnily enough, he's won 82 and 15.
Yeah. But, I mean, not many players are going to win 50 events, are they?
No, of course.
I mean, how many times has Phil Mickelson won? Has he made it to 50?
He's close. I think he might be in the 40s.
Yeah, okay. So if you actually make a blanket rule, that's what they shouldn't have done. That's what they should have done. They should have said, listen, if you win, if you win 5 majors and 50 tournaments on the US tour, then you get the lifetime exemption into these events that we're speaking of.
Yeah. So a couple of people who don't agree. Greg has said, I think this is BS. And Joe from Adelaide, this is the question for you. Joe from Adelaide has said, I read with interest Tiger getting exemptions for life, except he's a legend, but age and injury catches up with all of us. Surely if he's good enough, he gets in. But if he's not, he's taken the spot of someone more deserving. I would love your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but, you know, I know, and we had someone a second ago say that surely it's just for eyes on the TV. Absolutely, it is. That's why all these exemptions are there. If you win 20 times on the US tour, you're a lifetime member. So you get into a regular tour events anyway if you want to play. Yeah. So someone like Greg Norman, who's won with his 2 Open championships, he counts as winning 20 times on the US tour. He can probably, he could have kept on playing for a long, long time. So they do have these safeguards in already to keep the best players playing in tournaments.
Yeah, but because the signature events have come along, it's they probably never thought of that category.
That's right.
As it turned, I just looked up Phil Mickelson, 45 wins.
Yeah, 45 wins. So it's very simple. You win 50 times, you get into the signature events. Very simple, and you make it official. Yeah. You officialise it. I don't think that's a word, but you know what I mean.
We'll go with it.
So Phil's out, basically.
So Phil's not in yet. That's exactly right.
Now, before we get to the turn, we have a voicemail question.
You have one new voicemail. New message.
Hi guys, Fian here. Lexi Thompson is announced to retire and probably play a little bit like Curry Webb, but is she not the next Dottie Pepper? And I reckon she is. I think she can be off the clubs but on the course and a great insight to golf. What do you think, boys? Let me know.
Well, Fian, that's interesting. I mean, if she wants to be a commentator, I can't imagine it. I think she would have won enough money to where probably commentary mightn't be her go, but I don't want to speak for her. But, I mean, if she's a good talker and she has good insights and she can bring a situation to life on the TV screen, then, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
I think she's perfect to fill something like the Johnson Wagner role where he's got the chipping yips. Well, Lexi would be perfect as well because she struggles with the chipping and maybe could show off those skills. But I'm kidding, obviously.
Well, she may well have a role all lined up, but I think you mentioned this a little while ago. Maybe she's retiring from the LPGA Tour to take a position on the live circuit.
Who knows? She has played better since she's announced her retirement from full-time play.
Yeah, she's playing
almost won 2 tournaments.
Yeah, she's playing a lot better. I think there's more to the story. I think something special is going to happen. So I'm with Fian a little bit, but maybe not on the same track, but something's going to happen.
Well, she said, if you believe her at face value, that she was retiring in part because of the nature of the travel.
Yeah.
But her form has been so good, maybe she might not retire.
Well, in a post-round interview, it might have been after day 2 or 3, she said, when someone asked her that question, given you're playing so well, if you happen to win this week, would you reconsider your retirement? She said, I'm just taking it a day at a time. Yeah, okay. Never answered the question and just...
It's not a no.
It's not a no, exactly. So.
Yeah. Right. Okay, we're going to have a break and go to the turn and have a party pie, Mark. I know you're a fan of those. And we've got a question from Jake after this on Bryson.
Okay.
Ox and Marco, a couple of great mates with a fun podcast. And occasionally, well, let's just say, it can get a little sexy.
No, it wasn't my first pash.
Okay.
It was my first...
Early.
Emotional pash. Or the first one with feelings. In the back of a laser.
Right.
Little Ford laser gear it was too. So it had, it had the velour. the velour seats?
First pash, I was 11 years old.
Oh, here we go. 11.
11.
11 years old.
I didn't even know I had anything at 11.
I was on a cricket pitch
Oh,
in Box Hill.
don't tell me you bowled her over.
No.
Ox and Marco's Couple of Blokes podcast. Lots of fun, plenty of banter, and even the odd bit of romance. There's a new episode every Wednesday. Just search Couple of Blokes wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening to Talk Birdie to me, and if you're up for it, we'd love you to subscribe, rate and share the podcast wherever you listen. And thanks to our great partners who make the show possible, Ping, they'll help you play your best, Watch My Numbers, the most powerful database golf app in the world, and the Golf Clearance Outlet. They beat everyone's prices. Now, back to Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
Okay, guys, next bit of feedback, next question for you. This one from Jake Alder. Hi, guys. Off the back of a great and exciting US Open, I've got a 3-part question for you.
Ooh.
1. Does Rory win another major? 2. Do Bryson's irons give a fair or unfair advantage as no other players have probably tested them? And 3, is the new Bryson refreshing to the game? I love the tournament and I'd love your views. Thanks, Jake.
Okay, let's start with number 3, Nick. I said on the podcast earlier in the week, I think he's the most important player in golf at the moment. So, yes, the new Bryson is very, very important to the game.
Yep, agree. Refreshing is a great word for
That's it. Question number 1, will Rory win another major? My money is on him to win another major. I think he will at some stage. Fingers crossed it's the Masters. I'd love to see another player win that career Grand Slam, but any major will do, and it'd be a wonderful story if he did, in my view.
I would love to see him win another major, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Ooh.
I know.
That's interesting.
I know.
Why do you say that?
Well, the demons are there, that's for sure. I think if he gets a new caddy, we've spoken about this, if he gets a Billy Foster type caddy, says to Harry, thank you, but maybe he does something that has worked for various players is a job share.
Yeah.
Where they get 2 caddies who come and go. You know, they just split time because it keeps things fresh, keeps things different. Now, you could do something where you have one caddy who just does the majors and maybe a few of the bigger signature events, and then Harry does the rest of them or something like that. That could be an option.
Yeah. It's funny, Craig Spence, who we've mentioned in this podcast, he has this wonderful terminology. He reckons every professional golfer or every golfer gets a bucket of water, which is your nerve in golf. Mm-hmm. And every time that bucket of water is jolted, you lose a little bit of the nerve. Rory McIlroy's jolt in the US Open, he would have lost half the water in his bucket. Now, depending on how much water was left in there,
it was half full already.
He may well be running out of nerve.
I don't know.
And that's the kind of point that you're making.
Yeah. I really hope he gets it done. I would love to see. And I think and the only way he's going to get done is if he streets away.
Yep.
If it's coming down to the wire again and it's close, it's going to be great TV to watch, though, no matter which way it goes.
It will be great theatre.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Jake, second question. Bryson's irons. An unfair advantage?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, okay, so I've looked into this, and
good, because I haven't.
It's just his 5-iron that has the roll. So remember when he had to get his irons ticked off? So it's his 5-iron and 4-iron. So look, his 5-iron's not a 5-iron. His 5-iron's really a 3-iron or something like that. That has the roll on it. And when Bryson asked about it, he was saying that the 6-iron that's down to the wedges, the backspin of those clubs overrides any advantage from a bit of roll on the face of the golf club.
Okay.
So it's only, probably if he's got a 5-iron and a 4-iron and his hybrid and his woods, they're the only clubs that have a little bit of roll on the face.
All right.
And due to, if you hit the ball off the toe, the golf club goes backwards a little bit, and that makes the ball spin a certain way. So if you hit off the toe, that's why you hit a draw. If you hit off the heel, that's why you hit a fade.
Yeah.
Because of the gear effect. And the gear effect, he's only taking that into account with his 5-iron and up, with roll on the face. Right. So I've got a feeling you'll see probably more clubs, like, for instance, driving irons.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a feeling down the track you're going to see more companies now that Bryson's tested and successfully won with it, probably with that club,
right?
With the bit of roll on the face, that might happen. And now that that technology is being ticked off, golf club manufacturers will be having a real close look at what he's done.
So the one area where he does have an advantage, which the club that won him the US Open, you know why? Because it was a ping wedge.
Oh, is that right? Is that right?
It was a ping glide 4.0 wedge. Yeah, his wedges are ping,
okay.
and they're the glide wedges, and it was a 54-degree gap wedge, I believe.
Right.
So that's where he has an advantage, because the ping wedges are the best, right?
Yeah, so we all know that. Final question on this week's Talk Birdie Semi Q&A comes from Alex Payton. Hi guys, I played the Palmer Coolum Resort course last week on the sunny coast and had a look at the honour board, and what do I see but one Nick O'Hoo winner in 1999.
Wow.
Would have been Nick O'Hearn, I imagine, in 1999.
Yes.
Not
yes.
Nick O'Hoo,
True,
unless you've
correct.
been moonlighting for some time. But, and this is the question, Nick, you only played 54 holes. What happened to the final round? It might be controversial, but is a win diminished if you only play the 54? Thanks, Alex.
Back then it was a live tournament. No. One of the days we got washed out, unfortunately, the Saturday. Just too much rain came along and they couldn't get it into 72 holes. So, 54 holes is what it was. We all went into that final round knowing it was the last round. So, in that sense, I felt comfortable about the win, because we knew it was the final round. If I'd have played 54 and then the final round had got washed out, I wouldn't have felt very comfortable with winning that way. But at the same time, I always felt there's still a question mark. I haven't won a 72-hole tournament.
With the PGA Tour, they count 54-hole events if they've been rain delayed.
Yep.
But if it's only a 36-hole win, it doesn't count as an official win on the US Tour.
The prize money you still get, but you don't get the points in the
official win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Correct.
Nice. Well, that's been fun. If you want to get some feedback into us, do it on the socials. You can email us, go to the website and send a voicemail at talkbirdietome.com.au. And, who knows, if we get suddenly a flurry of feedback again, we'll do another Talk Birdie
Could
Q&A.
become
I
weekly
enjoy
thing.
it. I really enjoy it. Good on you, Dan. See you guys next time.
See you guys. And thanks for listening to Talk Birdie Semi. We appreciate you listening and getting involved. And a huge thanks to our fantastic partners. Without them, the show just wouldn't be the same. Watch my numbers. Download the app and turn your bogeys into birdies by analysing and improving your game like never before. The Golf Clearance Outlet. Awesome prices on great gear. You can see them in Melbourne, Sydney, Brizzy, Perth, and online at golfclearanceoutlet.com.au. And Ping. See your local golf shop or professional to arrange a Ping Club fitting. They'll help you play your best. If Ping's good enough for Nick O'Hearn, well, that says it all. And we'd love you to get involved with the show. You can leave a voicemail with any comments or questions at talkbirdietome.com.au or send an email or comment on the socials. And if you can share the pod with a friend, well, we'd love that. Talk Birdie Seme's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design, Daryl Misson at loudzebra.com.